Welcome to India Diary Episode 7 in association with Patients Engage. On the outset itself, I'd like to thank Aparna Mittal for giving me this opportunity to actually share the video where Aparna Mittal has interviewed my brother Sunny Uthup and me on how it is to deal with life after being diagnosed with CKD or chronic kidney disease stage 5. This basically talks about life as an adventure, yes, after you have a disease that batters you from all sides. Listen to this entire episode and see how people cope and stay alive. Yes, with me, your very own Anjali.
So good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining on one of our most awaited and interesting webinars. Today, we are going to talk about the impact of chronic kidney disease on a family. And we are very pleased to have with us Sunny Uthup, who is been dealing with end-stage kidney failure, kidney transplant failure, kidney dialysis, etc., for I think the last 5 years now. And we also have with us Anjali, his sister, who most of you already know, and in case because she's very active on social media, and she's a well-established RJ as well. But let me quickly introduce Patients Engage, which is not as well known. We are an online platform which has been operational for over 5 years, and we are focused on holistic and evidence-based management of chronic conditions from the perspective of patients and family caregivers. So we combine the medical information as well as the value of lived experiences and how we can learn from each other to engage better with our own health, as well as being empowered in decisions we make. So I won't take too much time. We have been doing a lot of webinars, a couple of disclaimers and guidance to the attendees. As you know, we are not medical professionals on this webinar. This is a patient's experience as well as a caregiver's experience. So if you have specific medical questions, please consult your doctor. This session is being recorded. If you're logged into Zoom, you can post your questions on the Q&A at the bottom. And if you're on Facebook, you can post it on the feed. If you post it on the Patients Engage feed, we'll definitely capture it. If it's on Anjali's feed, then somebody will probably, Anjali may have to periodically check on that, but that may be difficult. And as always, that's our social media handles, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. All of our recordings of these webinars do go up on YouTube, so you can always find what you may have missed in the past. And our website is patientsengage.com. And you can always write to us at editor@patientsengage.com. So I won't take too much of your time. And so thank you, Sunny, for coming forward to share your experience. If you can just start with the first symptom and the diagnosis and, what you went through for the first few days.
See, actually, I never had very many symptoms while I was actually getting on with my day-to-day life. But looking back, maybe those could have been some triggers.
Right.
But actually, I think it started to actually tie everything together. I think in 2009, I had got diagnosed with high BP. And the strange thing was that I was taking a lot of medication, sometimes up to 80 to 90 mg a day, but my BP was always very high. It was, 150, 100, 150, 110. But clinically, everything else was fine. I had nothing else. Nothing. There was no problem, nothing. So, that was the start. And I think what happened was in 2015, March, we were in Bangalore I had Easter holidays. Went to meet some cousins. And after I got down from the flight, my foot was swollen. So, I thought it was cabin pressure. So I went home to my aunt's place and it was fine. It was a little uncomfortable, but the next day it was fine. I got into my golf shoes, played golf. I had no issues. Absolutely none. BP was under control. So that was about in March. Then I came back to Calcutta in April, and then with work, with my MD of my company and a few of his friends and his wife and children, he told me to go accompany him to Assam for 2-3 days. So, not on a official visit, but on a personal visit. It was nice. So I went there for a couple of days break. They needed a break. When I reached there, so what happens is in the tea estates, there's a lot of entertainment at this.
Right.
So we were staying, so we went to the number one's in a bungalow in Assam, all of Assam. So we went there, had a couple of drinks, had homemade khana and came back. And now I was staying with a host family. A friend of mine, Siddharth Rai, his wife and kids and me were being hosted by Mr. Sanjay Batra. His wife Devika wasn't there. So we had got back home at about 11:45, 12. And it was, raining. Typical Assam weather, nice. So when we got back home at about 12 o'clock, my senior host said, "Arey, you've just come home. We have to, done thing. We must have one night camp."
Right.
I said, "Sure." So I had 2 small drinks. And when I came here, I had 1 large. And we were in bed by about 12:31. The morning I woke up because I had to go to the factory because everyone the next day, and I had some interviews lined up. I woke up in the morning at about 6:45 thinking I had drunk a liter of spurious liquor. So I threw up and everything, and then I went out and I was just not feeling well, so I rested. That day went for dinner to another person's house or wherever it was. Had a glass of beer. Next morning played golf, absolutely fine.
Right.
So that was April, and then came back to Calcutta. Then one Monday, I think it was May 29th, it was a Monday. I was feeling a little unwell. I was feeling cold. So I told my boss, Rajat, I said, "So I'm not feeling too well, I want to go home." So he said, "That's very unlike you." I said, "Yeah, I'm just not feeling well, and I think I'll do my medicals too." Because our company gave us the option of doing a medical every year at the company's cost, which was a good thing.
Right.
So I went for my test on Tuesday. It takes the whole day. So Wednesday, when I got the report, I was told to speak to our company doctor. And when I spoke to him, that was it. I went to collect it, and he said, "You need to have a transplant immediately." I won't tell you what he told me because that is a bone of contention, and I hold it against him. It was a joke or whatever it was, and my creatinine was 8.9, and it just a shock. So I was driving past the race course and I didn't know what to do. So I called a friend of mine, Harsh Agarwal, who's a doctor. And exactly to the day 1 year earlier, I had done a blood test in his hospital.
Right.
And the creatinine was 1.2. So when I told him, he said, "Sunny, there's a problem." Then I called one of my family doctors who's seen us since I was 4 years old, Subidda. He sent someone the next day, and he said, by the time it had gone up to 9, he said, "There's a problem." So that happened to be on a Wednesday. Wednesday, I didn't tell anyone. Thursday, I didn't tell anyone. So my MD called me. He said, "What's happened, kid? I heard you're not well." I said, "Yeah." He said, "Have you told your mother?" I said, "No." He said, "What are you doing? You have to tell your mother. It's serious." I said, "I don't know what to tell her." He said, "You better tell her, otherwise I'll tell her."
Right.
So I came to my mother's room and told her. And that was it. And she called Anjali, and I was shocked. I had a few tears in my eyes, but there's nothing else you can do. And that was it. And I think in 48 hours we left.
Right.
Because Anjali, John, they got in touch. They said that, "Don't worry, you come here. Georgie Nainen will look after you." Georgie Chan was there. So that's it. And we left. And there was no doubt in my mind that I was going to do it in Kerala. And there was no doubt in my mind that once they said that it was going to be Georgie K. Nainen, I said, "Fine." So that's it. The journey started there. I just got onto a flight in 2 days and we reached Cochin. First time I met. And my doctor wanted to see me on the way. So he was in another hospital and he called us and he said, "No, you meet me on the way. It's on the way." So he met me. At first he thought it was my dad. He couldn't believe it was me. because I was 115 kilos solid, 6'2", walking properly, no symptoms.
Mm.
He did the test, and anyway, he said, whatever it is, now you go to Lakeshore, get ready. So he called ahead. The room was ready, but he called ahead. He ensured everything was done. And he said, we will see you there. By
Right.
that time, there's no time waste. But I wanted to put on record that that's the way my doctor and his team
Mm.
made the effort to see me in transit. There's no
Right.
wasting time.
Right.
Because I took it seriously, and that was it. There was no time to react or, and I was
Right.
fine with it because I didn't know what was happening.
Right.
But you just went with the flow, and you have to trust your doctor. So that's
Mm.
exactly what I did. So in short, that's exactly
Right.
what it was. Then slowly stuff started happening.
Mm.
And then Georgie sir told me something. He said, Sunny, I think this IgA has been dormant in you.
Mm.
That is why your BP, that is why you got BP.
Right.
Because normally sometimes because of BP you get something.
Correct.
He said, that's why maybe it didn't even ever come down.
Mm.
He said, but I said, but wouldn't I have known? He said, no. I mean, it's a strange case. Maybe it's just one of those, but don't worry, we will
Right.
do what we can. We have to get you healthy.
Right. Right. Thanks, Sunny. Anjali, coming to you. So what was your first reaction when, your mother called up and told you? I mean, we know Sunny's reaction, but how did the family react? It can't be easy, for sure. So,
Hi, Aparna. Lovely to be here. This is just like such a fantastic opportunity for us as siblings to share this with the world at large. I mean, whoever is watching and they can watch it whenever they want to. So for me, it was kind of spooky when this
mm,
happened because I had just, honestly speaking, I got the copy of the book out just for you all. I had just finished reading this book
mm,
on the 29th of June. And I called up the author of the book, that's Dr. Philip Thomas, which is also eerie, but anyway,
mm,
yeah. So I read the book and I said, I'm dying to do some work for y'all.
mm,
Organ donation, this whole thing. Aisha had just done something in school as well. And I would do anything for you. So he said, thank you very much. And that's really good to know.
mm,
And that evening that I spoke to him, my brother called me up and told me, my creatinine is this, and I've got end stage kidney disease, end stage kidney failure.
mm.
And when you hear end stage, you think it's over, you're done, somebody's
Correct.
dying.
Correct.
Didn't know anything. And Sunny had Googled some stuff on, I mean, he was still in a daze that day. And then John, my husband, told me that, hey, listen, don't worry about anything. My uncle, Georgie K. Nainan, is a doctor. He's a nephrologist. Sunny Googled him and found out that he's one of the most well-known nephrologists. We were very lucky.
Mm,
And I was like, okay, what do I do now? But I messaged Dr. Philip Thomas and I said, what is a creatine of
mm,
8.6? So he replied to me saying, first of all, it's creatinine
mm,
and it's not good. And
mm,
collect the whatever, calculate the GFR. I don't even
mm,
know what GFR is. Where am I going to find a calculator for glomerular filtration rate? Anyway, I did it and I realized Sunny was baby below 15 or something like that. And I messaged him. And the next morning he called me back and said, oh God, who is this for? So I
mm,
said, my brother. He said he needs to get onto dialysis. It was such a shock because I needed to take care of my parents because they were shocked.
mm,
Sunny had no own family to say he's not married, so no wife, no children, nothing. And he was coming to Cochin. I just
mm,
made a promise to my parents, especially my mother, that I will give you back your son better than what you brought him to Cochin.
mm.
But yeah, so it was, but luckily, I think everything worked so fast that you didn't have time to wallow in self pity. I just
Right.
got hit by it after Sunny went back the first
Mm,
time.
mm.
But it was like every day you just had to. Sunny met Georgie K9 and we went into the hospital, his jugular surgery for his sperm, I
Which
mean, for his
hospital did we
catheter,
go
not
on
his
the way? Which hospital
P-
was that? PV.
PVS.
PV.
We went to PVS hospital. Georgie Kainen met him there with his entire team who was going to do biopsy, but everything else. We went to Lakeshore. His first operation was slated, which was done like that, and his catheter was put into
Right.
place. The next day, Sunny was in dialysis for the first time. I mean, it was like a whirlwind. So yeah, but we just knew that we had to cope. I had
Mm,
done groundwork in my house and say that there's going to be Sunny is going to be staying with us. There can be no unpleasantness. It's only going to be total happiness. And as my daughter and son said later on, Aisha and Riyadh said, it was in a way maybe a blessing that Nana fell sick and chose to come to Cochin, because we got to know Sunny as not a visiting uncle, but somebody who lived with us.
Right.
So yeah, but the good thing about having Sunny, whether he's unwell or well, is that when he's in the house, like his name, he's like sunshine. You know, it's always party mode when Sunny is there, no matter
Right.
what the situation. Whether it was at home, whether it was in the hospital, whether it was in the dialysis center, there was always good cheer. And I think as siblings, we share so much, including our friends and our blood group. But yeah,
Right.
so much that it was much easier, you know. It was really much easier.
Right. So in terms of, you obviously went straight into dialysis and then you were kind of waiting for your transplant. What were the changes that were required in terms of your diet, any other lifestyle issues?
Oh, actually, I think I was put on, I was told everything, which was a good thing. And they just told me what to eat, when to eat. But the most important thing was liquid intake. So that was difficult because in Cochin, you're there in July.
Right.
And then Doc Philip at PGT had told me that, he spent 2-3 days with me on dialysis. So when he checked me and I was overweight, he said that, you need to start building your legs. So I used to walk. I started walking on non-dialysis days. So the point of not drinking water is very different.
Right.
And I love drinking tea. But it was very difficult because after you walk 4 kilometers, I used to try and do it in a particular time. Because then I realized also that when you walk, you lose weight, you lose calories, and then your weight gain is not that much.
Right.
So by the time I figured that out, I started drinking more water because I knew it will come out. But it's very difficult. So I think the most important thing was water.
Water.
And like if I did a dialysis on Monday, I would be a little careful on Monday night until Tuesday evening.
Right.
But then Tuesday evening, I would cheat a bit, which is fine because I knew I'm going to go into dialysis on Wednesday.
Right.
So similarly, I would wait for a Saturday or whatever, because Sunday we would go out.
Right.
I would normally go to my friend Amit's house. He would cook for me.
Right.
So it was great fun. Used to tell Georgie Chan once in a while I had only one drink, but I used to have my 3-4.
Georgina, and I hope you're listening to what Sunny is saying.
Enjoy it. And he said, no, Sunny, you can't drink. I used to have it. But I'm sure he knew. But I had a good time. And then Sunday or Monday, I went for my dialysis. And the whole dialysis
people listening, you're not supposed to have 3 or 4 when you're told to not have more than one.
Absolutely not.
Yes.
Exactly.
But luckily they put me onto a regime of 4 weeks, of 4 times dialysis. I don't know why they thought that, but they did it. So, it gives you a little breathing space. But the whole, the whole system in Lakeshore, they knew exactly, if they saw a weight gain, they would look at me and tell me, okay, you've had water.
Right.
Or you've just eaten. They were so good.
Right.
So yeah, you have to keep everything. But I realized also, that way I was very good. You have to keep your checks and balances because it's only going to help you.
Right.
If you can restrict yourself, it means, basically it means just taking out less water. The dialysis is more comfortable.
Right.
And I just kept it like that. I know that if you're overloaded, it's going to affect your heart and this and that. I didn't want to think about it.
Right.
I said, if I go back with more water, the dialysis will be more painful. So I followed rules.
And then you had your transplant in October, right?
October 15th, yeah. But another thing, that's one thing I respect my doctor for. There was a time where we were getting it. We got everything done. Everything fell into place. People helped us. Now, I got admitted when I went 4th of July. Then after my catheter, 21st July, I came back home. And then regular dialysis had started. By that time, Anjali and John's my brother-in-law. They were doing the legal stuff.
Right.
With the hospital and Georgie Chain and Vilesh and the transplant coordinator. There came a chance there was a chance that I might have had my transplant, I think a week to 10 days earlier.
Right.
And I was very excited.
Mm.
But that's one thing my doctor told me. Georgie Jain said, Sunny, you've come here. When you're going to have your transplant, you should have everyone's blessing.
Mm.
Even your fellow patients.
Right.
So don't do it quickly. Don't let them feel that because you are who you are.
Mm.
I suggest you wait for another week. Because
Right.
there's supposed to be another transplant going on. You go after. So that always stuck with me. Because you don't want to always, I mean, I'd hate to stand out in a crowd when we're all on dialysis and say, you know, he's so and so, he's getting preferential treatment.
Right.
So that stuck with me, and I respect my doctor for that.
Right.
He said, Sunny, do it after 1 week.
Mm.
What's the hurry?
Right.
So wait, go with everyone's blessings. So when everyone asked me, I said, oh, this all, you know, someone would say, oh, very good, you're going after him.
Mm.
Very nice. But had I got it earlier, then some people may have thought, how did he's been on dialysis
Right.
only 2 months? How did it happen?
Right.
So yeah, so there were changes and you just had to believe.
Right.
I
Right.
followed what GKN and Vilesh told me, and I didn't bother about.
Right.
For me to be well was their headache.
Right.
Because I said, if I don't get well, I can ask them why. But if I don't follow, then obviously I'm not going to be well.
Right.
So you have to follow. That's exactly what I did. I didn't want anything else. I didn't want to complicate issues.
So let's move to after the transplant, right? You've had your transplant. When did you start seeing issues?
See, after transplant, you have the normal UTI infection, this, that, and the other. I think after about October 15, I think towards the... Actually, no, November 2nd, I went home.
Mm.
Yeah.
To the house.
November 2nd, we went home to our new flat. It was really nice. IPL or something was on, or ISL was on.
Mm.
I sat down. There was a big chair in my room, sofa put on. I was getting a pain in my back, right.
Mm.
And later I tried to sleep. But then, you know, new environment, you know, maybe drugs. I just could not sleep.
Mm.
And I was in pain.
Right.
And the next day, whole day I was in. And in the morning I woke up, then a friend of mine over here, who's a sportsman, said, why didn't you try this patch? So we ordered the patch. Then luckily I called the doctor. They said, no, you will not do any such thing because the patch means medication is going inside.
Mm.
But it was unreal. It was unreal.
Right.
It was the end. In the evening, I couldn't stand up. My stomach was paining. Everything was paining. They put a chair in my lift and we went down. We called PGT and PGT came. I still remember he came in his Kolhapuri chappals in the evening. And they put me back in.
Mm.
And that was the time I came to know that sadly we started getting infections. Oh, crazy. Like Dr. GKN told me, he said, sadly in my 40 years, whatever had to go wrong has gone wrong.
Mm.
He said, but don't worry, we will save you and we will save your kidney. Just don't worry. But it was hell. I mean, apparently once I was brushing my teeth and there was something wet on my stomach. And Anjali saw it. My 27 stitches had opened. I didn't feel it. My stomach pain was so much, I didn't feel that. Maybe I was lucky.
Yeah, I remember. It was chicken pox.
Then PGT came and then he said, no, I think you got, then that day, and he came and he put it, then he asked me about a Muhammad Ali fight in Zaya, Rumble in the Jungle in the 70s.
Yes.
So I said, why? He said, you see this piece of plaster? That's what I'm going to do. So he kept cutting thin pieces of plaster and joining me. No stitching, nothing. But yes, it was scary. And then, but Doc GKN and Doc PGT, the moment they saw it, they said, this is chickenpox.
Right.
And PGT had told me just before, and Doc GKN had told me, take your vaccinations. So thank God I didn't get a huge dose, but I got everything.
Right.
I got that, I got UTI, I got candida in my mouth, I got candida in my stomach, I got H. pylori bacteria, I don't know, you name it and I had it. I had chickenpox. So yes, but it was tough. It was painful. My stomach pain was very bad and I still have it. It's 5 years.
Right.
I still get, today's my 7th pain-free day. but I still get it. And when I get it, it is unreal. I mean, while playing golf, I get it. So, these are the things that happen.
Right.
You have to cope with it.
Anjali, you talk of observing how every time he went in with a issue, can you talk about that, what you observed and...
Yeah. So, when Sunny is talking about all these issues that he had, Sunny is the ideal one in all textbook to have at medical school.
Right.
Because what goes wrong with 1,000 people went wrong with Sunny. As GK used to say, Georgica is like this case study, like everything. And the icing on the cake was hepatitis C. Icing. I mean, it was not going to get worse than that. But anyway, every time Sunny started having rejections would have probably been in 2017.
Yeah, I forgot that.
Yeah, it was due to, all kinds of things, from a psychiatrist to CT scan to MRI, you name it, we did it.
It was called diplopia.
Diplopia, that's it. Yeah,
Right.
diplopia.
I could say I've seen that.
Yeah. And I was like, oh God, okay, now we don't want any more problems here. Then Sunny used to come back every 2-3 months for his checkup. In January 2017, when he came in December, he stayed on, of course, till January. He started feeling sick. And I noticed his creatinine was a little high.
No, but I'd come in December for the rejection.
Yeah, you had come, but it was still, we were managing with Solmedrol infusions. And he came back and his creatinine had gone up to 2.2. And he had, I still remember coming back from a party and I said, let me check on Sunny. And he had raging fever. So the next morning I had to take him into the hospital. So that was the first thing. Then we would tell Vilesh, please pray that the creatinine come ho jayega. Come hone se, we'll buy you a pair of shoes.
Right.
So Vilesh got a great collection of shoes because of that poor thing. And he said, mere sar par to joota pad rahe. But I started noticing a pattern. Solomedrol, IVIG, rituximab, bortezomib were the 4 kind of weapons, the biggest guns in anti-rejection drugs that were used for Sunny. Each time we went and we came back celebrating that his creatinine has come down, base levels were going up. Anyway, his base level was 1.5, went up to 2.2, went up to 3, went up to 4. And I remember 2017 in March, January, I had gone to Bangalore to do this work for kidney patients. And one guy nearly collapsed on the table. We nearly lost the patient. And I couldn't do anything about it. I ran back saying, I'm never going to do this. 2017 March, the same thing happened to Sunny. Exactly the same. So stamped in my mind that I will never let go of anybody. That was the changing point for me. I said, I will sit by every patient, whether I know them or I don't know them. And I remember these 28 hours I never have my phone with me when I'm in Radio Mango, where I record my Kochi Twist, which was my sanity during these days and still is. But the Paru came up to me and said, Neeta is calling from Lakeshore. Neeta is one of the top people at the ICU. And when I heard that, and I saw 7 missed calls on my phone from her, she said, you come to the hospital now, Sunny is not good. And I walked into the hospital and Sunny was on that table and he kept asking me, am I going to die? I'll never forget that. Anyway, and I said, no, you won't. But those 28 hours, and I couldn't tell my mother, could not tell my father at whatever age he was. But those 28 hours, like, this whole crying and saying, okay, God, I have to get this on. Then finally at about hour 26, I told Vilesh, I said, Vilesh, I need those immunosuppressions taken off. And he looked at me as if he had heard the words from God. So he said, are you sure? I said, I am 100% sure. I said, his counts, his septicemia is just going up and up. We couldn't get lines for him. His veins were just collapsing on him. He had no BP. He was on a machine that was regularizing his BP. And Neeta came in and said, Anjali, this is the best decision that you have taken. I remember calling Philip, who was in America at that time, and I said, do I take him? I'm taking off immunosuppressions. He said, just go ahead and do it. So we took him off immunosuppression that night. Those 28 hours, I don't know what. And as his Sunny never does it easy for us. Na? After that, he got ICU psychosis. Oh my God. So so his rejection just went on. And then you're getting medicines. You don't want to psych the patient. I do my homework. I still remember, I think it was IVG or was it rituximab, one of them. Sunny was lying down. I know the side effects, and I'm just praying to God. I'm not going to tell Sunny about it because then he may just imagine it, psychosomatic. Sunny says, Anjali, I can feel something in the back of my head. I'm feeling hot and I'm feeling something in my throat. I said, okay, that's it. You're allergic to this. Called the doctors. And I mean, it was like that. I mean, whether we were in the ICU, whether we were in the room, whether we were in the dialysis center, Sunny and I were great companions. So we had a lot of fun. But these were the telltale, like we were constantly alert because I knew that anything that can go wrong in the book. I have helped over maybe 1,000 patients now. What Sunny has gone through, still 1,000 patients are yet to achieve. He's had it all. But yeah, that's when I decided, that's when we said, okay, that's it. Sunny did not have a fistula. The two top brass people who do AV fistulas was Dr. Philip G. Thomas and Dr. Sudhindran, who's at Amrita Hospital, liver transplant surgeon. And how do I get his vascular access going? And they said, oh, we have to get a call to him and all. I said, I don't need to call. We don't need to worry about anything. I met these two doctors at some transplant meet where my mother was singing, and my mother, who she is on right now, Amma, thanks for joining us. She said, very typically Usha Uthup style, I hope I always meet in your profession and not always meet in my profession and not yours.
Right.
Both these doctors that day she met, one ended up doing Sunny's transplant. And I called up Sudhi and I said, Sudhi, Sunny needs a vascular access. We can't get it because his veins are very thin because of IgA. You think you can help us? He says, just bring him. Took him there and his, fistula was done. Started working. And he went back to Calcutta to start he did dialysis at Lakeshore, of course, and it was fantastic.
Right.
It was beautifully done. The fistula, it started working. He reached Calcutta, again, 70th birthday of Amma's. All ready to go. I reached Calcutta, real party scene happening, and Sunny is ready to go, but I already know Sunny has hepatitis C. So yeah, it's only when you start, we have to celebrate that his creatinine would come down, but be very aware. I'm talking to everybody who's watching this and you are caregivers. Always be aware to which point it comes down to. Do not be happy that it came up and it's a little above where it was. It's not right. That itself shows you that there's a problem. So be very aware. And Sunny and I, thanks to my mother and father, are quite meticulous. We write down everything. So write down, I had a book on Sunny. Sunny had a book on himself. Write down things that you feel are, little out of the ordinary. If I didn't have all those blood reports with me and making notes of it, it would have just passed. It's natural. We're humans. So yeah, being aware and being informed is very, very important.
Right. We have one question from somebody. So I'll take that in the middle as we go through. Yeah. Anjali Sunna, what an incredible journey. What one thing can you say that kept your spirits up during this journey? Sunny, you want to go first?
Oh, it's been like my Doc Philip says, it's been quite a ride. But you have to look at the positive. I mean, I'm still okay. So why should I complain? So if I have to do dialysis, I choose to do extra dialysis. It suits me. And if I have to make 3 hours in a day, I'll do it. And clinically, if you read my reports, barring urea and creatinine, you will never know, touch wood, that I'm a dialysis patient. So maybe that's because of my constitution or genes or whatever. But it's also because of my doctors in Cochin and my doctor here now, who also looks after me. But I speak to all doctors. I have no problem. I touch base with whoever's there, whoever's available. And I follow them. Right. So that's one thing. See, I think it became easier for me apart from family and all that, but I have implicit faith in my doctors.
Right.
Whether there's a rejection, whether there's a transplant, the fact is things could have gone south, but it hasn't. So the way I look at it is they have saved me. So spirits up, yeah, I mean, okay, it's only because of this lockdown. Otherwise, I'm playing golf, I'm making an effort. I was playing 18 holes 6 days a week. My family's been superb. My employers were superb. My doctors, my team, the nurses.
Right.
But I have a lot of things to be thankful for. Yeah, I might be lucky that, yes, things are going well, but you make what you have also. If I'm going to sit here and say, no, I don't want to do it. Chalo, let's do only 1.5 hours. Let's skip a medicine. For what? It's going to have an effect on you.
Correct.
And very quickly, I learned that people on dialysis don't die because of dialysis. They die because of other issues. And the major thing is your heart. And the major thing is potassium. The major thing is blood pressure. So these are a few, if you keep 2-3 things, parameters in your mind, I think you can lead a good life. And you can't keep complaining. Your spirits have to be up. Because see, at the end of the day, you've got 3 hours on your own.
Right.
So you got to be able to live with yourself.
Right.
And I'm quite happy living with myself. Yeah, you have a couple of bad days, big deal. Suck it up. People have worse. But I'll tell you a story. Why, when I was first diagnosed, I think we were in room 814 or something. One day after my dialysis or something, or was it after transplant? With a lot of medication, you forget things also. So sometimes I forget the chronology sometimes. But I remember I came out of my room and there was this lady, young girl, who was bald, who was wearing a cap and reading a book in the lobby of the 8th floor in Lakeshore.
Right.
So she was in room 812, which was near the lift. So I saw her father and we started chatting. He said, I'm Sunil Thomas, whatever, Sunil. He used to run charters of helicopters in Delhi, based in Delhi. So I said, what's happened? He said, oh, that's my daughter. I said, what's happened? Oh, he said, oh, nothing. She's got the common cold of the 21st century, cancer. So I said, yeah. I said, wow. He said, yeah, she just had chemo. She's come out. So that girl had just had chemotherapy, was sitting outside reading a book and not complaining. What did I complain? To walk 20 feet. So I said, I won't come. And I haven't complained since. In fact, I spoke to Sunil 2-3 weeks ago just to find out how he is and how his daughter was. And everything's fine. I have people over here. I have some inspiration here. There's a very dear friend of mine, much senior to me. I play golf with his son. He was senior to me because of tennis. He used to play a very good level of tennis in the 70s. Very senior person. I take inspiration from him. When I was getting my issues done, he had cancer. He fought with it. He came back. And eventually we started playing golf together. And he was a single handicapper, which was very difficult. And he stayed a single handicapper. And he's gone back to being unwell last 5-6 months. And I'm still in touch with him because we are very close. And he's a thorough sportsman. So you get inspiration from people also.
Right.
I mean, he's at it. Every time he says, I'm doing well. What about you? So there's no reason to complain. At least I have no reason to complain.
Right.
I might miss out on a few things.
So what do you miss out on? What do you miss most?
I guess just going out, playing around the golf, being carefree.
Right.
Be pain-free. Not to worry that when it's too hot, should I drink the water? Should I not drink the water? Will my stomach start paining again? I haven't had a pain-free day in 5 years.
Right.
So, I mean, to say, so the days when I have pain-free days, I enjoy it. I celebrate it.
Right.
But yeah, like today, like in COVID times, because of this, if someone says, let's meet up for a coffee, I can't go.
Yeah. COVID's definitely made it worse, right? So.
Yeah. So then you become tougher. I mean, what is that saying?
What doesn't break you makes you stronger.
Yeah. Right. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Fine. I mean, let's see. Let's see what's in store. But I try to be non-foolish about things.
Right.
But there's no complaining. I mean, you have to be positive because this disease is between the ears. So you have to fight.
Right.
I mean,
most chronic conditions are actually between the ears.
Yeah, but
they're long term. They're long term, right? Yeah.
But that's why I want to tell people, not the people who have it, but the families who are supposed to. They have to make it easier for the patient. I know it's tough.
Right.
But if they take some of the burden, it's fine. Like there are many times over here, only my my helpers over here know what's happening with me. I
Mm.
don't disturb it. Because I know I can sort it out. If I have a pain for 20 to 40 minutes, I know it will go by in 40 minutes.
Right.
So there's no need to be, to raise alarms or whatever. You've got to get on with it.
Mm.
But you need a support system. And if someone can help you, if you know that there is a backing, like I know there's a backing. I can call Dr. GKN, I can call PGT, I can call Vilesh, I can talk my doctor ARD, I can call Anjali, I can call John. Now, the things I tell Anjali, I don't tell John. The things I tell John, I don't tell Anjali. So that's fine. We have our own, I know where to speak to. It's much easier. Your family have to be. I think that's why I'm having a good time. Touch wood. I don't have much to worry about.
Right. So
I am
that's a
told to have
nice,
nice
segue to Anjali now.
No, I mean, what do I have to do? I have to do dialysis. I have to take my medication. I'll do that.
Right.
I leave all the problems to the doctors because they are supposed to look after me. I'm not supposed to look after myself. I go for dialysis. I'll do everything they tell me to do. And the rest we'll see. I have no problem.
Yeah. So Anjali, how can caregivers make it easier for the patient?
Before I answer that question of yours, Aparna, something's bugging me because I'm a woman. Sunny Uttop, what is it that you tell John that you don't tell me? Huh?
There are a lot of things I can talk about.
I know.
No.
See how my ears go up for that.
No, sometimes
I was waiting for it to, Anjali.
No. It's got nothing to do with the obvious, but there are certain times I have a relationship with my brother. So I can chat with him, it could be anything.
And it's true. I think it's important to build multiple relationships, both for even the primary caregiver as well as the patient needs to kind of have these multiple relationships.
Yeah, like I have one or two friends in Calcutta also. I have a couple friends who I tell them everything.
Right.
Amit and Tina, I tell them every day. We speak every day. They've really helped me. I have another friend who I speak to and she asks me what's happening. I have another friend from England who's here now and, they know what's happening. I have my other group, which is it's called the Adda group. They keep asking me how I am. But I think I've got all the backing. But the best thing is so far that all my friends, my batchmates, I think a few people are on now from Lovedale.
Sabina.
They treat me like a normal human. And I'm glad for that because I don't like any handouts. I'll play. If I struggle, I struggle. But I'm not good. The show has to go on. I mean, if I can't make it, too bad. So, but it all comes from the support. The support is the most important.
Right.
That's the biggest. That's the biggest boon. And every person who's suffering has to have a support system. Otherwise, it's not possible.
Yeah, tell me, Aparna.
So Anjali, how can a caregiver create? One is okay. Clearly we know that caregivers take care of patients, but how do they create a support network such that they don't get overwhelmed?
So the thing is that I honestly say, first of all, a caregiver can never choose to be a caregiver. You have no choice. You just automatically become a caregiver. In my state, in my situation, there was definitely no chance. You can't do it on your own.
So there's also, one is ask for help, but I think also the point you're making, right, that your friends were coming up with very specific ways in which to help you. So one of the challenges I've seen is people will say, let me know if there's anything I can do. And that becomes very difficult to respond to for most people, right?
That is, and that is, I think, in a way, it's a really sweet thing to do because I used to respond to people like that. And I'm like that. But I realize if somebody's there, I will say, okay, do you want me to do hospital duty? Maybe you don't want to do that because you'll have to explain all that to me. But if you need something to be picked up, you want the kids to be taken care of, I would do that. I'm specific. Like I still remember a friend of mine, he needed to go to hospital. His wife couldn't make it. I said, you don't worry, I'll pick him up and take him. So you have to be specific because when you're in a daze, what do I ask for? I need to get my nails painted. I want my hair to be washed. All stupid things, but I needed all those things to happen.
Right.
So, yeah.
But Aparna, I think the question you said, just now said that, when people say, let me know if I can be of any help.
Mm.
I'll tell you one thing, pre and post for me.
Mm.
I used to also say that to people
I
when
know,
I was well.
I say it as well. Often I say it,
Yeah,
right? But I'm realizing that
no,
it's
but
very difficult for people to figure out
I
what
know,
to ask.
I know, but what I'm saying is, I'm saying it with regard to me now.
Right.
When I used to say it to people, pre and now, post, I mean it 150% now.
Okay, but
Earlier,
I also say that it's often not an issue of intention. I think often intention is there, but
there,
I mean,
but
I know there are people that they'll say it for the sake of saying, but there are also people who are willing to do it. But I think it makes a difference if you say, I'm going to the grocery, do you want me to get something for you? So, when you're very specific like that, it's easier to...
I think with closest friends, I think being general is fine. Like there are a lot of times, I tell you, there are a lot of times my friends said, do you want anything? Sunday, I'll just turn around and tell them, yeah, send me some Bengali food.
Right.
Or why don't you come here? I've had people pick me up and drop me when we've gone out. Small things.
Right.
But I know who to ask.
Right.
For what?
But I think also I was quite lucky because my friends also who know me really well. Know that I can be very crazy and obsessed with what I do. So for them to say, oh, Anjali, we'll come and sit with you in the dialysis room or tell us what to do, they knew that I was never going to let that happen. There was no way. I was just queen bee on that. So they knew it's going to be worse for Anjali. She'll be saying, why did they ask? Did they ask because they think I'm not doing a good job? Your mind goes into circles.
Correct.
But by being specific, because they know me so well, it was easy. And like even when my cousins came, so we came, like Poppy came, Inchuka came, all my cousins, Gugi, Amma, Choti, all of them, Ajay, they flew down from England as well, Sean. It was nice because when I went back home or we came back from a dialysis, life was normal.
Right.
And then somebody would say, hey, can we bring you this? And something. But they were very specific. And the people who said, hey, can we do anything? There were times actually, if I felt close enough to them, I'd say yes. But I honestly know this has been a great learning ground for me. I really know who did what with what intention. Some people just do things to get attendance, which is also good sometimes. You need to live with
sometimes numbers. You just need it, right?
Yeah, and sometimes it's nice. And God bless everybody who's helped us. But you just know. You just do.
So linked to that is also the point that often I see families struggling with the fact that they're already dealing with all the information and having to be on top of everything. And then they've got 150 family members calling up and asking, how is it? How is this? How is this? Or, adding advice, etc. How did you deal with it? Did you create WhatsApp groups? Did you say, I will do one public broadcast? Or did you say, okay, that is John's responsibility and not my responsibility? How did you manage that?
So it was very easy. I have to give full marks to my parents and my brother. When they gave me responsibility of Sunny, it was all in all. All the decisions rested on me. I was never questioned even once. From the dealing with the money to the medication to the choice of doctor, choice of hospital, everything. My parents and my brother trusted me completely. So it kind of became easy. How did I respond to people? Thank God. Whether it's a compliment or not, I have the gift of the gab. I'll die if I don't talk. I picked up the phone and whoever asked, hello, yeah, this is happening. I spoke to everybody. It was fine.
It was fine. You did not get tired with that, repeating the same thing again and again.
I love doing it because I think repeating it also in a way was educating me, because every time I would say IgA nephropathy, I would do what is IgA, but by the end of it, I got to know. So by repeating yourself, sometimes you become perfect at what you're doing. We had no problem telling people. People asked us, we did tell them. We didn't have we are not that family that has these crazy secrets and we'll tell somebody and we just happily, look where we are. If my mother sneezes, it will probably be in the newspapers.
Right.
But one thing I must add with this, I was very clear from day one that this need not be publicized. If I'm not well, I'm not well. Yeah. I didn't want it to be out there. This is the first time I've ever spoken in public.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's my issue. It's my family's issue.
Correct.
And not that I'm running away from it. I go and meet people. I help People, whenever they ask me for advice, I'm always there.
Mm.
But I didn't want it to become a thing, oh, Usha Uttup's son, or Anjali's brother, because I've played sport.
Mm.
I mean, you're known for what you've done at your
Right.
level.
Right.
No calling for this or asking for a favor. Yes, if they are within the rules of a sport, I will ensure that I get that. Like if I'm allowed to play a golf tournament in a cart because of dialysis, my club has allowed me to do that.
Right.
But there's no, like when I go to a nightclub and all, or if I want to party, say once a year, I'm not going to sit there in a corner and say, oh, I'm a dialysis patient. No.
Mm.
I don't want it to be out. I mean, the proof of the pudding lies in my batchmates from Lovedale, There's this guy who said, let's meet, Krishnan Unni. He kept saying, let's meet. I kept booking my tickets. He kept booking his tickets. And then every day he wouldn't come. So finally we went to Bangalore. And then he came and, obviously the turnout became less. And he said, yeah, sorry, Uttup. Sorry, I didn't realize. I said, what is okay, man? We had a great time. I mean, the friends, they didn't even put it out. They didn't publicize it. They knew what I was going through, but they treated me normally.
Right.
So I guess it becomes second nature.
Right. And did you ever have, both of you, obviously you get along very well, but did you have mood swings? Did you have, and how did you handle those difficult
I remember
days?
once I had a fight with my mother and my sister while we were going to Lakeshore because they said I was not well and they went and they said that the doctor will come. I said, no, how can you call the doctor? He's not there. I said it. I said, the doctor's not there. How can you call him to come? Whoever's available will look after me. They said, no, he'll come. I said, but you're not supposed to do that.
Mm.
I said, I'll wait in line. I swear I said that. And both my mother and sister started crying. Oh, why are you fighting? I said, because I don't want people to point a finger later saying that Usha Uttup's son or X, Y, and Z got bumped up the line. It will happen. People will say, they themselves will say, please go through if you see my mom. But don't ask for it. I thought they were asking for it because they say, no, the doctor will be there. I said, forget the doctor.
Yeah,
Someone is there, they look
ask
after
for it. You never heard only half the things I was telling you. Foolish.
No, I was very clear. Even here in Fortis, I am very clear. I don't want nazar. If I have to wait in line, I will wait in line.
But yeah,
I have no problem.
Honestly speaking, that is one thing I have to tell you. The way we were brought up, I'm not saying it because of anything else, but we literally had Mamta Banerjee ma'am and Sri Uman Chandy telling Amma, whatever you want done for Sunny, we'll get it done. And I can't tell you how many more heads of states did it, including, I think, the president of Kenya, who's family to my mother. But yeah, we had all of that, okay? But my mother said, no, we're going to go through it the way it has to be go through, all the papers, all the files, whatever it is. Nowhere. Sunny was very clear that Amma would not represent him on the thing because we don't want any good blood or bad blood. See, being Usha Uttup's daughter and son is the one of the best things in the world, but comes with it also some negativity from other people. And we didn't want Amma to get any of that. We were very sure about it. So yeah, we waited in line. That anyway, we'll not talk about that on the show and fight more about it. But I knew exactly what I was saying and why I did it. But honestly, those 58 dialysis Sunny had, I don't think we ever fought. We used to fight a lot. Now we don't fight so much.
Don't fight.
Become old and grey.
So what happened to you? How did you deal with the fact once he left, after you were this queen bee of caregiving and, kind of running around, spinning like one windmill or a top or whatever? How did you deal with afterwards?
It was the strangest day of my life. Because I was going 2 days later to Calcutta. Amma couldn't come. So Sid flew in to take Sunny back. Komal went with him. Suddenly, Appa was left alone. Sunny went off. I dropped Sunny at the airport. It was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. That was just the worst day of my life. I was so devastated. I did not have any meaning in my life suddenly. I was nobody. I just felt that, 99.99%, I was happy that I gave back my mother her son. I felt so horrible for me. I had no astitva. I had no meaning. I didn't have any direction. People say, oh, you have your children, your husband. Rubbish. There was nothing I want. There's nothing bigger than the high you get when you know what you're doing is directly proportionate to that person being alive. Nobody understands a caregiver. You can be a caregiver, but a primary caregiver is a it's nearly maybe more because you never feel the umbilical cord.
Mm.
Giving care to a human being, even if it's not your child, and I give care to so many people now, I'm like a universal caregiver. That bond is irreplaceable. Nothing can replace it. Not the love of your child can replace it. I never felt so much love and responsibility to even my children that I felt towards Sunny. I was finished. I didn't know what to do with my time. I remember John saying, now that Sunny's gone, you need to come back home early. But I did not know what to do. I was like really in a daze. Till I went to Calcutta, then I sat down to do his medicine bags and things like that. So that was good. Then again, when I came back, I had to pull up my socks because Aisha's class 10 exams had started, her boards. I was a zombie. I really was. I really needed rehabilitation, which I did for myself. I found other ways. One of them was, of course, getting more and more involved with people. Like Sunny
Right.
said, you want to, it's his problem. So my problem is like, till today, actually, I have not cried about Sunny. But this case, this whole program has brought it back to me. Sunny's problem is his disease. He doesn't want to do it. My problem was I'm an essential caregiver. How do I do it? That's why Sunny Kidney Foundation happened. That's how I joined the Kidney Warriors Foundation or became part of all the different parts, Cheyuta or Mujahid Bhais or, whoever else in Bombay and everywhere else. Because it was important for me. I had to rehabilitate myself. So caregivers he's looking fantastic and he's just doing so well. The glow, I could see it on Garima's face. And you think that it is their duty to do it, but the mental images and pressures of a caregiver are huge.
Huge. Yes.
Sometimes it's got nothing to do with the patient also.
True.
Like now I'm talking and thinking about Sunny. And I will be his primary caregiver as long as I'm alive. But it's a different dimension because you give of yourself something very knowingly and willingly. And people don't understand it sometimes. So yeah, this is for all the caregivers wherever you are. You're right in feeling the way you are. And you can always call me whenever. I'm just a click of a button away. So yeah.
Right. And one other thing, because as part of Sunny Foundation, you talk to a lot of patients, right? And one of the big challenges that kidney care takes in India is the financial cost, right?
Oh,
so, and it's a topic we can't even scratch the surface of at this point, but it's just, if you can just reflect about what is the impact of that financial burden on the family itself, on the family dynamics, and what in your view, and there are no easy answers, but how can they help to keep the family kind of
the family, the pressures that a kidney disease puts on a family. I know it's a basic.
Correct.
Is 25,000 rupees a month. Basic. If you're going to Siddhivinayak to get your dialysis done at 200 rupees, it's great. You could go to some other place at 100 rupees. You could get worms in your pants over there, but that's your choice and whatever, that's the options. But I'd only say one thing, and it's a broad spectrum, is that whatever has to happen to us will happen, but be aware of who you are, where you are, what you're eating, what you're drinking from the youngest point in your life to just make sure you're healthier so you don't put burden on family. But medication, it's just so expensive. I'll just give you an example. Okay, so Sunny's on dialysis. But other than dialysis, Sunny's had to deal with hepatitis. He's had to deal with teeth problem. He's had to deal with cataract. He's had to deal with CT scans. He's had to deal with MRIs. Each thing costs the earth. I work for many foundations, including Kidney Warrior Foundation, which has really helped me a lot in everything that I do. But Sunny Foundation is the place that I'm not going to say I have 50 injections and I give it to 50 people. If I have 50 injections, I'll give it to 2 people because I want their life to be changed forever, or at least for the next 6 months. Because what's the point of giving one injection and they're still going to worry, where do I get the next injection from? So Sunny Foundation is a foundation where Anjali calls up people and says, please help this person. This is his number. He needs money. He needs a lakh of rupees and somehow we get it for him. Because I don't even know how people do it. I have my friends, Sejal and Brijesh and Neena. Neena's going through dialysis in Bombay. She's got 2 children. One of them is a special child. They buy less khana because they can't afford it. I mean, they're 4 hatta-katta people. You cannot imagine. Had a friend, a girl who died in Dharavi. She didn't die of kidney disease. She could not afford it. She couldn't afford a mass. 2 rupee mass was washed in water, which was just near a pit, which was where they defecated. I came out of the Dharavi screaming. I still remember standing outside that door. And I think I was supposed to go to Sailesh's house. I think Sailesh is on the show to his house for dinner. I just couldn't deal with it. I'm like, what am I fighting for? Basic human rights. Water. It kills you. You have no idea wherever you're doing your dialysis, what that person and his family, and sometimes the patient feels guilt to do, how many people are getting that 200 rupee dialysis or a free dialysis? And how many people are getting a good dialyzer? Just because you're getting free dialysis, your dialyzer is using 12, 14, 15 times. Are you kidding me? Do that. It just breaks your bone. That's the one thing I'm so thankful to God is that Sunny's company was amazing. My parents, God bless them, they work hard enough for this. We can afford the disease. My God. So I don't know how. It's mind-boggling.
We have a request, Anjali. If you can summarize, I think I would want you to summarize your caregiver tips that you had initially, or not initially, in the middle, in Hindi.
Oh,
so you can take a moment to think and.
Yeah. नहीं. तो हाँ, मैं बोल रही हूँ जब आप केयर गिवर हो तो आपके सर में यही चलता रहता है कि आप कैसे किसी को हेल्प करें, लेकिन आप कभी अपने बारे में नहीं सोचते हो. और लोग बोलेंगे आपको कि हाँ आपके पास बच्चे हैं और चीजें हैं जिससे आप अपना मन बहला सकते हैं, लेकिन जो केयर गिवर का रिश्ता होता है पेशेंट.
Sunny, any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think, see, everything else being equal, I mean, just say everything was perfect. You had the money, you had the support, you had everything right. I think the two most important things are you have to have full faith in your doctors, and you have to do certain things that can help you. You must be aware of your disease. You must know the do's and don'ts. And one has to do it. You can't compromise. So one has to be tough. I mean, there's no use just be sitting back and saying, "Oh, yaar, mere ko ye ho gaya, this is happening." The problem is that there is a problem. Everyone has. And if everyone is getting the same care, and if everyone has the same opportunities, then you will always see the person who's more aware and doing things more in line with the treatment will always have a bit of a healthier life. So one has to keep the spirits up and, keep at it, because it takes time, but you have to keep at it. For me, I equate it to playing a round of golf, 18 holes. It takes 5 hours. It's one shot at a time. You have to keep at it. And there will be results. And you just keep the faith. I mean, your doctors are there. Everyone is there. God is there. But you have to make the effort. You have to make a difference. Because at the end of the day, there are certain things which are in your control. There are maybe a lot of things that are not in your control. But the certain things that are in your control must be.
You have to. Right.
I firmly believe.
Yeah. Thank you. I think that really sums it up. I think the fact that as patients, we need to take control. And I think Anjali has already poured her heart out as a caregiver.
Yeah, because you know what, I'm lucky actually, Aparna, and I don't think that caregivers were ever recognized. And I think I'm very proud to say that I started this whole thought process. In fact, when I spoke to Dr. Sumanna from Mohan Foundation, Lalita and all of them were wonderful human beings. And Sumanna called me up and she said, we want you to be part of this newsletter. And I said, I had this horrible monster inside me, that 0.01% that I was so irritated that what will my life be after Sunny went? And she said, you sure you feel you want to talk about this? I said, I want to talk about it because caregivers are very lost people and very neglected. And I'm not saying we want pity. And we don't even want beacon light screaming out, you're a caregiver, but they also have issues. Correct. Also, I'm very blessed because Sunny was a very well read human being. And he did a lot of things that helped him through his dialysis. Like we would spend hours together, but he'd spend a lot of time thinking, becoming aware. And he never played the pity party card. And he never said that he could treat somebody bad because he had this life-threatening illness. Many patients end up becoming nasty to other people, saying, look at me, look what my life has become. Sunny never. In fact, he felt guilty. I mean, here you're just coming back home and taking, like Sunny said yesterday, he's been thirsty for 3 years. And when my children, one day I told my children, why don't you be thankful to God? So they said, for what? I said, the fact that you do susu in the morning. Do you know what it is? Your uncle has not peed for 3 years. We take it for granted. So,
But drinking water, my God. Sometimes when I have so much of a glass of cold water, that feeling, I think that's the best feeling in the world. To have so much of cold water. When I play golf, I drink because I know it's coming out. I'll play in the heat. So I can drink a liter and I'll have no weight gain. In fact, I might lose weight. But to have a glass of, I've not had a full glass of water in 3 years. So that's perspective.
Right.
So Sunny made it very easy for me or my mother, because he's a well-informed patient, never played the pity party card. And all human beings get into bad mood. So, I mean, somebody who's sick getting into a bad mood is just normal, run of the mill. And we just as a family have always had a lot of fun and happiness. It was always one big party. I mean, everybody traveling to see us. I mean, we are in Calcutta sometimes when I go to Sunny with Sunny for dialysis and all. My friends are Jyoti and all will land up and we'll be eating puchka and having chai somewhere down the road or something like that. So the thing is that your happiness quotient, and I suppose we're also blessed, which we are, and we can afford it. So we're not really broken down by so many other things. But for the people who can't afford it, we are there to help you find ways and means. Something will be done trying to get this government to understand how important this disease is.
But so like a small thing, like you said, today's, I adjusted my dialysis, so I don't have dialysis today, so that you can do this. So I've had tea 3 times today.
Right.
So now I can't finish this. So this is my last sip. So that's it. So now this much is how much I've had. And I probably have a cup of tea at night when I watch some football or cricket or golf.
Right.
So you have to be aware.
Very careful. Yes.
There's
a question that this will be recorded, and as I said earlier, yes, this will be recorded and it will be up on our YouTube. So
yeah, please share it.
Share that link. Yeah.
We've got 2 more questions, I think, that has come in, right?
There are comments that have come in.
On the Zoom, actually.
Yeah, so one says, Pia says, Anjali and Sunny, so proud of you both. Love from Sarosh, Maya and me. And then the other question was, will there be a recording that we can watch? So which we've just answered. And Nilofer said that you are lucky to have a Durga in your life.
So sweet, Nilu. Thanks, darling. Yeah, there's people who come on to Zoom are actually, the first question was from my friend Lipika.
Right,
so all the friends who come on.
But Aditi, being on this, I hope you can do something for dialysis patients with regard to insurance. You know.
Yeah, actually, Aparna and I spoke about it on one other patient.
No, I'm sure when you do your next, when you are engaging so much with kidney disease, I'm really thankful to you. But please do something to the government. Please take it up to them. There are people just falling on the wayside because they can't afford it.
Right.
If you can get some insurance, something, make maybe transplant laws a little easier if you can take it up, if you can champion the cause. I mean, you've taken a huge step here. I see the good work you're doing. Please help, because there may be people who need help.
No, not maybe. There are a lot of people.
There are a lot of people and we are doing.
But I'm sure, what I mean to say is, I'm sure, you know.
No, I know.
No, like I keep thinking to myself is we have a card we can swipe everywhere and you know it. So suppose you have, your system, you cannot be a healthier person than an organ donor while you're alive. I mean, of course, I want all of you to believe in organ donation and donate your body and the organs so that when you're dead and gone, people will still be happy and alive. But in your lifetime also, if you have decided to be a live kidney donor or whatever donor, you could not be a healthier person in the world. So I feel everybody should just be given a life insurance anyway. And if anything should go wrong, I mean, at 18, why is it so difficult for our country to do this? Suddenly we are one big fat country. And when it wants, we're divide and rule. Yeah, aap apne aap kijiye. You can't do that. We must have a blanket rule across India for patients. We have enough money in India. Please, I'm not a third world country. India is not a third world country. When I see medical stuff that happens in a basic hospital in India and compare it to a good hospital in the US, I'm sorry, we come on top. So we have money. I want you all to understand, if this ever reaches the right people, we have enough money to look after patients and give them free treatment. And we have enough money to subsidize it for people of the middle income bracket. And we have enough money not to rip the upper class of their money because they have it. So yes, that's really serious stuff. And I work day in and day out trying to figure that out, because how do you pay for a dialysis and then not eat and then go sell your erythropoietin injection because come on, yeah. But we'll do it. At least
we'll do it. We'll keep work on it. Yeah.
We will till one day they'll hear.
Yes.
And I'd like to thank everybody who came on, all my cousins and our friends. Thank you so much. It's so good to have you. It must be very difficult for my mother to not be the performer here today, but thanks, Amma.
Yes, we missed an opportunity, I think, but
we'll get her on for one of your patients.
Thank you, Sunny. I know you said you've not come out, and spoken at a forum, and thank you for doing this. And I think it is important.
I think it's also, even I don't talk about the work I do. But I was told recently, Anjali, we're not trying to, many people will say, oh, look, she's trying to say that she's doing such a lot of good work. But a friend of mine, Pia, actually said, you should talk about it. You know why? Because you're going to create awareness. So now that I talk more about the work I do, not because I want to be branded as some evangelist trying to change the world. Yes, I am, or getting brownie points for myself. But I just need people out there to know what a difficult disease. You have a card for a pacemaker. You have a card when you have something wrong with your knee. You have, if you're a cancer patient. At airports, I have fought for carts to be made available for patients who's had dialysis, because they can't walk the length and breadth of our hospital. So the way that it can happen is the more you talk about it, the more you're seen, it will reach everybody. And with you, Aparna, it's surely going to.
Thank you, Anjali. And I think there's a lot of things that we probably should talk and figure out how to collaborate more and enhance the voice. And shout out to Vasundhara as well, because she kept reminding me that I should do this as well. So
and also just to tell all of you out there, try and buy these books, both of them. They're available. This book will talk to you about every problem that a kidney patient could have. And if you're unaware of our world, try reading this book, because it will keep you there. Vasundhara ma'am, of course, thank you a lot for even having me on Kidney Warriors Foundation. It makes a big difference. And for the rest of you guys who trust me for every minute and every penny that you give me. It means a lot.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much once again. And thank you to all our listeners for listening in.
Thank you for watching India Diary Episode 7 in association with Patients Engage. Yes, true warriors just know how to win every game, right? Alright, remember to stay tuned, because very soon we're going to be having India Diary presenting the Covindian. Yes, the soul and genius of India and Indians everywhere, and how they are coping with the pandemic. All the episodes will be taking care of safety first and promoting how you could stay home and still be on top of your game. Follow us on Instagram at India Diary by Anjali Uthup, and you could get in touch with us on email on indiadiary22@gmail.com. And on our YouTube channel, please remember to leave your comments and like, share and subscribe, because I'm sure together we have so much more to do. God bless, stay home and stay safe.